So, when you're ready, Shai, I'll start. You ready? Okay. I wanted to relate this week's Parshat Tetzaveh. A lot of it is about clothes. And seeing as, at least I heard Dr. Yocheved talking about dressing up and clothes, so it seems to fit in with the time of the year. I won't take any offense if you dress up as Okay, so we do have Big Day Kahuna, and I want to share with you a couple of essays, and then share with you something very, very interesting about every minhag of Am Yisrael has some kind of kedusha to it. This particular minhag of dressing up on Purim, I have absolutely doesn't resonate with me at all. But it obviously has a source because that's what people do. But let's start with the purpose of clothes. I don't know whether your Hebrew is good enough to be able to see my title here, but isn't it an interesting connection of words? Beged is clothes, Begida is betrayal, Levush is whatever you wear, and what is Busha? That's a really interesting connection between the words. And let's see how this theme develops. Rav Lichtenstein, in his way, gives us a number of roles that clothes play. Beged is magen. Sofer Mefusam, he says, a famous writer, doesn't tell us who. Habagadim osim et ha'adam la'adam. Clothes make us the man. Aval asur shehem ya'asu oto lekolav. But it's forbidden that the clothes should turn you into a hanger. Or just something that the clothes are hanging onto. If you ask an average person what is the purpose of clothes, most people will say that the clothes of girls, you can't be asleep yet. I've only just started. Give me 10 minutes before you fall asleep. And you can play it back at night. Beats sleeping pills. The purpose of clothes is to protect. They protect us in the summer, especially now we're more aware of our skin and its exposure to the sun. We cover our arms properly because it's quite dangerous. And we wear clothes in the winter to protect us from the cold. On a higher level, other people will say the clothes are a symbolic of a culture. The world of clothes has created around it fashion. Itzur, v'siglonot, different styles. Begadim shonim meshadrim amirot shonot, different clothes represent different ways. Asher litim halovesh muda alehem, sometimes the person wearing them is aware. Ulitim lo, sometimes they're not aware. They're unaware what their clothes represent, what it means to other people. L'umat ha'amor ha'tarbut ha'yevanit, Greek culture, in contrast, hitadra la davka be'erum. They were much more interested in people not wearing clothes. Haguf ha'enoshi hu davar she'en litbayesh bo. The body is something one shouldn't be embarrassed of, and davka litbayer bo, to be proud of. Halalu ba'im lidei bitui begimnasion ha'yevani u'ba'amanut ha'yevanit. And this it was expressed in in Greek, gymnasia. There they were very interested in glorifying the body. And the glorification of the body was by taking clothes off. Yishal HaShoel, so the questioner will ask, Umadua lo, why not? That's how we were created. We weren't created with clothes. Any other animals wear clothes? All the animals, they don't wear clothes. Not dogs, not cats. They don't wear clothes. That's the first point. Beged mavdil. So beged is magain. Beged mavdil. This is a negative to the previous question. We have to go back to Gan Eden. After the sin, when their eyes are opened, when they've eaten from the tree, and our eyes have remained open ever since, forever. Adam v'Chava hevinu, they understood ki erumim hem, that they were naked, and as a response to that nakedness, they made for themselves clothes. V'asu la'atzmam chagurot, and they made for themselves belts. V'sofu shel oto parasha metuah shlav nosaf. And then at the end of that parasha, we have an additional comment by the Torah. V'yas Hashem Elokim la'adam u'le'ishto ketonet om b'shem. The God made man some kind of skin clothing. God gave us clothes at the end of that parasha. Madu asa Hashem la'adam u'le'ishto ketonet or. So why did God make these clothes for man? Ma lo hayam maspik v'ota alei teina. What wasn't good enough with the fig leaves that man had made his clothes with? She'adam v'chava asu la'asmam. Hapar ha'mahuti ben kutanet me'ol le'umat alei teina tfurim hi ramat ha'ibud she'abeged avar. So the difference is between the development of the clothes. If you have clothes that are made out of fig leaves, they are at their most basic. And God made man clothes out of ore, out of skin. It's developed, it's been processed. Ketonet orov roti pudmit kadem rav yoter, processed in a real way. It's a much more significant piece of clothing than a fig leaf, which can be torn, can fall off. And the fig leaf is just part of Gan Eden. This wasn't created by man, this cloth of skin. When God gives man clothes, he gives a very clear indication. You're no longer part of that world. You're no longer part of that animal world. You have to put on clothes. The fact that you're just another creation of the world is a fact of the past. But now, now you know between good and bad. You are somewhere else. As far as God is concerned, the message in Bereshit is the minute we are being given clothes, habeged mavdil, it separates us. We are no longer part of the animal kingdom. We are moving away from that. We are putting clothes on. We are covering ourselves up. So you have a beged which is magain, which is protective. You have a beged which is mavdil, which differentiates. Next one, beged magdir, clothes define. Tafkid chadash leotam begadim anu mosim b'parashatenu. This week's parasha, Tetzaveh, we find another role that clothes. This is so important for us. I mean, it takes up so much of our life, clothes. Parshat Bigdei Kahuna. Suddenly we've got special clothes that the Kohen has to wear. In the same way that clothes differentiate us from animals, from the animal kingdom, כך בגדי הכהונה יוצאים פער בין הכהן לבין העם שבשדות. So when a Kohen puts on his clothes, it differentiates him from the masses. He's different. He's a Kohen. You can identify a Kohen in the street or in Yerushalayim, in the old city, by the clothes that he's wearing. וגם כאן, over the page, וגם כאן, מדובר בהפרדה חיצונית. But this is a very, very external differential. אשר בא לבטא את ההפרדה והדרך הפנימית, but it's coming to express an internal difference. I mean, the Kohen has a certain kedusha that the Yisrael doesn't have. If you're Israel, you're a peasant, the Kohen works in the Beit Mikdash, and the clothes on the outside are coming to reflect what's meant to be on the inside. Im nifgosh et HaKohen HaGadol, and if we were to meet a Kohen Gadol, נדע לזהותו בקלות, we would easily be able to define him. ועל פי צלילי פעמוני הזהב המלווים את כל צעדיו, and he has bells at the bottom of his cloak, so you would hear him coming as well. מעבר לכך, בגדי הכהונה מכילים תוכן משל עצמם. Those clothes have their own symbolism. הרמב"ן במלחמת השם, the Ramban in his Perush on Gemara, מביא בשם הירושלמי דין מעניין של צורך בעשייה לשמה. That there is a halacha that the clothes of the Kohen have to be made l'shem shamayim. As do tzitzit have to be made l'shem shamayim. הדבר משקף שוב את היותם של בגדי כהונה משהו מעבר לסממן חיצוני. The minute you're saying a piece of clothing has to be made l'shem shamayim, you're going above and beyond something which is external, right? L'shem shamayim is tochen, it's content. It means something has a purpose and a meaning. It's not just on the outside. מדובר במרכיב משמעותי ביותר. הוא מבדיל את הכהן מסביבתו. It separates the Kohen on the outside, מעיד, but it also testifies על היות כהן משפיע על היותו כהן. So we have three so far. Magen was the first, Mavdil was the second, and Magdir is the definition, is the third. This is, ladies, how Rav Lichtenstein gives shit. Beged pnimi. So what's a beged pnimi? הרחבנו עד עתה בנוגע לתפקידם שונים של הבגדים. Different roles that clothes play. לאורך התפתחותם בתורה, as they develop in the Torah. למעשה ניתן לראות פער זה גם בפונקציה שבגדים שונים ממלאים. There are different functions that clothes play in our lives. כאשר התורה מצווה על מכנסיים, he koteved when the Torah talks about that the Kohen has to wear michnasayim, trousers, pants. That he has to cover up his nudity, his nakedness. This only comes up with the trousers, with the pants. So they cover his nudity. You know, they wore long kind of dress type clothes, but when a person moves or goes upwards, one can see. So they had trousers to cover their nakedness. So you see that the trousers, the pants, they have a basic role, which is kisui, which is to cover them up. But the other clothes are not for covering. They have specific roles to present. And this is also halachic. יש חיוב מיטה על נכנס ומקדש ללא מכנסיים, that if someone went into the Beit Mikdash without the מכנסיים, he would be חייב מיטה. בעוד שמי שכסה את שאר הבגדים אינו ראוי לעונש, but someone who comes in without the other clothes isn't punished. So beged me'id, so the clothes testify. אותו סופר שהזכרנו בראש הדברים, who we spoke about at the beginning, על תפקידם של בגדים ביצירת האדם, the role that clothes play in the creation of man, אולם לצד כל זה, but besides this, המשפט מתאר סכנה גדולה. There is an enormous danger with clothes. אסור שהבגד יעשה את האדם לקולב. It is terrible, it is bad, it is negative. The clothes should turn us into a hanger. What does that mean? There's nothing underneath. There's nothing there. The clothes are just on me. ההשפעה צריכה להיות אמיתית. The influence should be real. משמעותית. הבגד הוא עדות לפנימיות. the clothes should be a symbol of something going on the inside. Siman la v'lo siba. It should be symbolic of lo nitan lebases et binyan ha'ishiyut. You cannot base your character, who you are, et hashpa'ah chusa abasis levush chitzoni, on the clothes that you are wearing. The clothes don't make the man. Mareh chitzoni u'ma'asim chitzoniyim. Pu'ulat ha'adam, the actions of man, ma'asav v'techushotav. Your actions and your feelings and your instincts, tzrichim lavo mi'amkei ha'nefesh. They have to come from the depth of your soul. That's quite an introduction by Rav Lichtenstein. And my other Rosh Hashiva, Rav Amital, he also speaks about Big Day Kahuna. There is no commandment about what we should wear. You don't have to wear black. Black is not the color of the Jewish people. If the Jewish people have a color, it's blue and white. Always has been blue and white. Techelet and lavan. Always been blue and white, not black. If we're not given clothes that we have to wear, the Kohen is given clothes to differentiate him from other people, to symbolize something. We're not given clothes to symbolize anything. We're told to cover parts of our body. That's it. That's where clothes finishes with us. And therefore, says Rav Amital, when we relate to clothes, we have to go back to the basics. Mimei Adam HaRishon, we have to go back to Adam HaRishon. אולם כאן עלינו לזכור פסוק חשוב אשר שב ומחזיר את כולנו למגרש של פרשתנו ואתם תהיו לי ממלכת כהנים וגוי קדוש. Even though we are not told to wear specific clothes, we are told as a people to be mamlechet kohanim. As a people, in reference to other peoples, we are meant to be kohanim. Like kohanim are to us, we are meant to be people of the world. V'atem tiyu li mamlechet kohanim v'goy kadosh. Parshat HaShavua. I feel bad like exposing you to my Rosh Yeshiva because they're so fantastic. And you'll just be jealous of me. You're not jealous of me for anything else, so... Parshat HaShavua medaberet al bigdei kahuna. Our Parsha talks about bigdei kahuna. Ulam b'rtzoni ledaber davka al begadim ba'ofen klali. I want to speak about clothes. Harambam b'moreh nevuchim meta'er et ha'arachim she'otam ba'a Torah lelamed et Yisrael. The Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim, Chelek Gimel, which is actually the easier Chelek of Moreh Nevuchim, the others are really guide to the perplexed. He talks about the values that the Torah is teaching Am Yisrael. One of the values the Rambam talks about is hygiene and the cleanliness of our clothes. למרות שהרמב"ם ממשיך וקובע שמי שמדגיש רק את הערכים החיצוניים הלא הוא פושע ומופקר. The Rambam emphasizes that if that's the only thing you talk about is the clothes, then you're a sinner, because the outside isn't the most important thing. עדיין ניתן לראות בדבריו את החשיבות הגדולה שיש בחיצוניותו של האדם. It's still very, very important the way a person chooses to present himself. הגמרא מזכירה מימרה של רבי יוחנן שמעולם לא היה רבב על בגדו. Rabbi Yochanan, the Gemara testifies that he never had a stain on his clothes. Never had a stain on his clothes. I always like wearing a jumper in case my shirt gets stained and you can't see if I've got a stain underneath. So it's good to wear a jumper. It's not so good to wear a jumper in the summer. נדמה שחשוב לגמרא לומר שאפילו רבי יוחנן שאין צריך להכביר במילים על גדולתו בתורה, דאג למראהו החיצוני. Even Rabbi Yochanan, no one questioned his greatness in Torah. He was interested in presenting himself in a respectable way. בשנות ה-60, in the 60s, היה מגמה של אנשים שהלכו עם בגדים משונים. People wore different clothes. Mareh Muzar, they looked a bit strange. Hippies. You know that word? Hippies? Matratam v'masim elu. What was the, before my time, but what was the purpose What was the purpose of wearing different clothes? I never knew this till I heard this. Their point was that it doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. What's important is what you are on the inside. Kind of Kotzker idea, really. But Judaism doesn't accept that. It doesn't accept that you can wear whatever you want on the outside. It's important what's on the inside, but what's on the outside is also important. The culture of the 60s was a lack of any kind of embarrassment. Do what you want, say what you want, be what you want. I think actually he doesn't speak about it here. I think it's a very clear reaction to the effect of 2 world wars and Vietnam and Korea and Vietnam. A century that was fed up and just wanted to break out. They wanted to destroy conventionalism because all it brought was death and destruction. It's just not important what a person looks like. However, in Judaism, busha that a person have shame, be aware of shame, be aware of embarrassment is important. Many midrashim reflect this. When they come out of Gan Eden, God makes them clothes. This lack of embarrassment has reached high levels in our generation. Where there are villages where people just walk around nude. I was once on a Shiur with my children. They were very young. It was a long time ago. And we were walking down Nachal Dan. We were walking in the north, my favorite place in north of Israel. And we're just walking, and they have all these like inset pieces where people are camping or whatever. And we suddenly pass this couple, nothing on. To which my Yitzchak turned around and said, Abba, it's Adam and Chava. Well, they started waving, say, come over. I said, a bit later, we'll come later. It may be Adam and Chava, it might be something else. There are camps, there are beaches, nudistim, kamo chayoto behemot. Have you noticed, ladies, how Disney, who you celebrated yesterday as an integral part of Purim, you'll explain to me why another time. Disney spent his life putting clothes on animals. Western civilization has spent its time taking clothes off human beings. Disney was trying to make animals into human beings. We're trying to make human beings into human beings and let animals remain animals. Winnie the Pooh, I can't remember who was Winnie the Pooh, but I would advise you in the future, if you ever see a bear, to run. He won't give you honey, he won't dance around you with Tigger, he will kill you. Bears are not nice animals, and neither are tigers or lions, and I don't really think, from what I've heard over the years from various departments, that you like mice so much, whether they're called Mickey or Minnie. And as for ducks, don't know. But you see, Disney put clothes, he humanized them, and we are trying to go in the other direction. We're trying to humanize humans. So Disney put clothes on humans, humans are taking clothes off to be like animals. We should feel that busha. And it's important that you care about how you look. I'm very makpid about how I look. I never look good, but I've been wearing a suit since the first day I became Rosh Midrasha. I came to school the first day. I didn't wear a suit in yeshiva. I didn't wear a suit in Bnei Kiva, England. I wore sweaters. But as soon as I became a Rosh Midrasha, I started wearing a suit. I've been wearing a suit ever since. Someone once stopped me in the yeshuv and said to me, how can a maskir of Bnei Kiva wear a suit? And I said, I believe Rav Kook wore a suit, so I think I'm in good company. That's about all I have in common with Rav Kook. But you have to have a certain cupboard. Wear clothes. I iron my clothes. No, I've got to, well, it's gone down the line. I clean my clothes. Little Cinderella. I do I make sure my clothes are clean. They're not spectacular. I wear the same stuff all the time. If you come with me to Poland, you'll see I'm much more fashionable in Poland. Lots of different colours I wear in Poland, and sweaters, and I was called many different things. What was it? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, because I like wearing turtlenecks. So apparently I was like Steve Jobs. That was one of the kind of things that was said about my dress. I was called a number of different things, and then I had to be told and explained who Steve Avoda is. And I love it. I get home, put a turtleneck on. But it's got to be clean. It's got to be clean. The clothes have to be clean. And it's important that you look presentable. You don't have to look like Lady Di or Princess Di or whoever it may be. You have to look decent and reasonable. I remember this. Rav Amital used to come and see how we were dressed. I remember on one occasion in Sfirat HaOmer that a guy had long hair. And Rav Amital said, go and get a haircut. He said, it's Sfira. He said, go and get a haircut now. Imam sent him to get a haircut in the middle of Sfira. So you go and get a haircut, you're learning Torah, you look like a Ben Adam. You don't look like a crazy with your hair all over the place. Go and get a haircut. You know it's very important in the army. Right there. People have to have short hair. They won't let you grow your hair long in the army. It's a certain discipline that you look normal. They won't let you not shave in the army unless you're from. They won't let you not shave in it. You have to shave. You can't walk around a mess. And I got such pleasure ironing my son's uniforms every Friday. Come home from the army, that's the most I can do, right? And I said, Abba, no one irons. I said, you're wearing our country's uniform. Your uniform will be spotless and it will be ironed. And I got great hana ironing my children, even like Madei Bet, not Madei Aleph, the stuff they're in the fields with. I ironed everything. I owned my own. When I went in the army, I owned my own as well. You can't look like a shloch, right? Are they tidy? I'm not going to start doing this, by the way. I think I get in trouble. There is an importance to how things look on the outside. It's obvious that if that's all that's important to you, it's pasur umushchat and it's corrupt. The only thing is how you look on the outside. But a normal person has to think about that as well. How they look, how they appear. When they bought a new suit in Slobodka, they were embarrassed to tell the Rav that they bought a new suit because they didn't want to show off that they bought something with a lot of money. Because he would say Titchadesh. They didn't want special attention. That's part of the Muslim movement, right? They want the special attention. They don't want to stand out. Harav Asazot, but the Rav said Titchadesh Mishum Shehu Ratzah Laharot Lahem Sheyesh Chashivut Lemareh Chitzoni. It's a totally different essay to that of Rav Lichtenstein. It's saying there is an importance to something on the outside. HaTorah sama b'moked et ha'pnimiyut. Torah emphasizes what's going on inside. Ulam hi eina mistapeket b'kach, but it doesn't suffice. Chata'am shel b'nei Aaron haya shenichnasu lemishkan mechusrei b'gadim. The chet of b'nei Aaron is that they went into the Mishkan without, there are a number of different chata'im, but they went without the clothes. Heim chashlu, they said the only thing that's important is what's on the inside. And that if you want to serve God, it doesn't matter what's on the outside. But they were wrong. You can't serve God in any way that you want. It's not just a free-for-all. We have two very different essays, Rav Lichtenstein defining the roles that clothes play, and Rav Amital actually emphasizing to a degree how clothes are important. This I found in the Chama Leibovitz, Beno Yaakov, and he adds another facet. The next one will be Purim, but just one before. Halavushu eino rak hagana mipnei hakol. So clothes isn't just about protecting us from the cold. Eino rak kishut. It's not just kishut. Give me a good word for kishut. Kishut. Decoration. Good. Thank you. It's the first sign of mankind. Our lives is after Chet Adam B'Chava. And ever since then, we've been wearing clothes. V'hi b'hargashato hamusarim shel ha'adam. Mutar ha'adam min ha'behema. It separates us from animals. Clothes separate us from animals. Dargato v'kvodo shel adam nikarim b'simanim hanutunim b'madam. And a person's rank in the army. I sent you a picture just of my son's 2 lines. It means he's a mem, it means he's an officer. You can identify the rank in the army by the clothes a soldier is wearing. Etzem halavush, kavod hu la'adam. Clothes are a kavod for a person, and l'kohanim it's for the kavod v'letifaret. דרגת הכבוד העליונה שמגיע אליה יילוד אישה היא דרגת כהן גדול בקודש הקודש. The highest level is a Kohen Gadol who goes into the Kodesh HaKodeshim. Yom Kippur, he's wearing white, kasemel, as a sign of purity. And so the levush is a kavod. We shouldn't be taking our clothes off. We should be wearing our clothes. It differentiates us from animals. We're not animals. We don't even want to be super animals. We want to be human beings. Clothes were given to man, not to animals. To take clothes off is to deny who we are. So when God gives man and Chava clothes, it's not just a consensus. It's a tosefet lema'aseh bereshit. It's an addition to ma'aseh bereshit. Ve'in or sheni shenitam la'adam. So you have different definitions here of clothes. Before I go to the final source, I want to share with you a thought that I've had on many occasions. I've shared a few times, but we rarely go there anymore, so it's not always relevant when I say it. If you go into Auschwitz-Birkenau and you walk straight ahead, you get to the gas chambers. If you take a right and you walk for about 1.5 kilometers, which we don't do anymore, but we used to do, you will reach a place which is called the sauna. The sauna is right by Canada where the people sorted clothes. But the sauna was a place where Jews went when they were selected not to die and to live in Auschwitz. And the process in the sauna was that a person arrived, had to take off their clothes, had their hair shaven, were given a number, a tattooed number on their skin, like a cow, like a horse, and eventually they were given other clothes. And the clothes never fit them. People never even think about that. They were just thrown clothes. So a small person could have had baggy trousers without a belt, never a belt, and a long shirt. And then they had to swap between them if they could, if they were going to survive. And I have asked students in the past when we were there, and not everything the Nazi Party did was thought through. In retrospect, it looks like it was thought through, but it wasn't. Historically, we know it wasn't. When they put people in ghettos, they didn't know they were going to kill them afterwards. So it's a process that took place after Barbarossa. It wasn't clear. When you look at it in retrospect, it looks as it was all planned. But this was planned. And the plan was essentially to remove the identity from a human being. If you take off his clothes and you shave his hair, he becomes absolutely unrecognizable. We have testimonies of sisters who came out of the other side of this process and did not recognize themselves. And they did not recognize each other. They simply, you take the hair off a person with long hair, you shave all their hair off, and they're unrecognizable. And the purpose behind this process, besides demeaning a human being, the purpose was to remove their identity. But you understand, it's bidyuk hafuch. When you take all of these external things off, you actually discover your real identity. When all of the things on the outside are gone, you discover who you really are. You're not your hair, and you're not your clothes. That's how we were born, and that's how we go back. That's who we are. That's who we really are. We were once on a tiyul. I apologize that I can't do those tiyulim in Eilat anymore. And I'm not just going to sit there and do nothing, but they're very hard for me. I'm like the last one up with mother trailing behind me, checking my pulse. I did it last year, but Ross Tussman will run up the top and run down. But so we're finishing. Imagine this, we have these, well, you have Eitan sometimes, but we have Madrichot sometimes, and Madrichat Tiyulim. It happened to be my niece on this occasion. And we finish more or less a tiyul. And the girls can see the hotel in the distance. Mashiach. They're already thinking, who's going to get into the shower first? They're thinking, how do I sit by the door to trip up people and get through till I get the hot water? And she sits them down and she says, let's sit down and talk about what this means to you. I think they heard their sighs in Lebanon. But it was my niece and I had to help. So much to the girls' disappointment, I said, well, I've got something to say. And the girl said, hooray, wonderful. And they started doing this. Go. And I said as follows, I don't like tiyulim in Eilat because I don't enjoy walking on rocks. I just don't enjoy it. I always stub my toe, and that's why I always cover my feet because they've been damaged by tiyulim. But I love the north. And then I asked the students, what is the difference between walking in Eilat and going on a tiyul in the north? And I suggested that Eilat is the world without clothes on. The midbar is the truth. The north has grass, it has trees, it has rivers. It's a world with clothes on. That's not the real world. That's why the Torah was given in the midbar, because the Torah represents truth. And the truth is just the world without clothes. And only a group of people who are devoid of divinity and have turned into monsters can believe that you can take someone's being away by shaving off their hair. Our being is our neshama. Our clothes are important, but who we are is what's under our clothes, what's under our skin, what's in our head. We have to be focused on that, because we can so often get fixated on what we're wearing, and that defines us, but it doesn't. And I want to go to this very interesting and thought-provoking essay on Purim. I don't know who the rabbi is. I found it by accident a number of years ago. העיקרון של הסתרת זהותו של האדם בעצם תחפושת. So on Purim, we dress up. מהווה מוטב החוזר על עצמו. It brings a motive that continues and repeats itself. לאורך כל מגילת אסתר, throughout the Megillah of Esther, כשאסתר ושאר מועמדות למלכות מובאות אל ארמון, when Esther with all the other women she's brought to the palace, ניתנת להן הבחירה מה ללבוש. They're asked, what do you want to wear? Whatever you want to wear, the most beautiful thing you want to wear in front of the king. באילו תכשיטים להתקשר? What are you going to wear? באילו תמרוקים להתבשם? What perfumes do you want? Which are the best perfumes? Chanel number 5, Chanel number 127, which is a special Shushan version. You can prepare any way you want to prepare yourself for the king. לאחר שאסתר מוכתרת למלכות היא מסתירה את מוצא יהודי. And then she hides her identity. Esther hides her identity. זהותו של מרדכי בתור מי שהציל את חיי המלך נשארת עלומה. עד לרגע הנכון. who Mordechai is. We know he's Mordechai Yehudi, but we don't really know who he is until the last moment. HaMelech Achashverosh metzaver al Haman lehalbish et Mordechai bigdei malchut. Achashverosh tells Haman to put regal clothes on Mordechai. ולהובילו ברחובות שושן. אומנם הבגדים אותם אנו לובשים מכריזים כלפי חוץ על מהותנו. So it's true. The clothes that we wear are meant to represent who we are. אבל הם מהווים רק אחד מהסמלים החיצוניים בהם אנו מתרנים. But only one of the things. הסמלים האחרים עשויים להיות השתייכות למועדונים מסוימים. Other things that define us are which clubs we're affiliated to which groups we're affiliated to which organizations we're affiliated to. לכך גם משתמשים הרהיטים בביתנו. Our furniture at home defines us. You walk into a home, you can see what kind of people. המכוניות שלנו. Our cars define us, and newspapers define us. Certainly in Israel, where every single newspaper has a very clear political standard. כולם יחד, וכל אחד לחוד, all of them together and each on their own, משמשים כביטויים חיצוניים של אנחנו הפנימיים. Just bear with me. התחפושת והשינוי החיצוני, this costume that we wear on the outside, מאפשרים לנו, actually enables us, באופן פרדוקסלי, in a paradoxical manner, לגלות מי אנחנו באמת, to actually reveal who we really are. בפורים, on פורים, אנחנו משנים באופן קיצוני את הביטוי החיצוני שלנו. We change how we appear. We dress up. המראה שלנו. במעשה זה, when we do this, איננו מתכוונים להחליף את הביגוד בלבד. We're not just changing our clothes, אלא לחדור אל מתחת לרובדי החיצוניות, דווקא to penetrate the external expression of the clothes. על מנת לחשוף את היסודות הנסתרים, we dress up in order to reveal that which is hidden. Yeah, what does that mean? What he says is so true. בפורים אנחנו מחפשים למישהו. On Purim we dress up as someone, and normally someone שלעולם לא נוכל להיות, someone we will never be able to be. Every year my children want me to dress up as Tevye. I'll never be Tevye. I am the papa, but I'll never be Tevye. Never be Tevye. So they think they'll get me to dress up because of that. I want to dress up as someone I'm never going to be. I don't know who Yishai was dressed up as yesterday with that hat, but she's never going to be. It was a wicked person, right?
Yes, Maleficent.
It was Mephistophel. So we know. We know Yishai is too kind and too nice. She could never be Melafafon. And she doesn't really want to be, but it's always we dress up as someone who we're never going to be. Ladies, I would go as far as to suggest that whoever you dressed up as today, you're never going to be. And you might have been, but you're never going to be. We'll never be a king. We're being a bit simplistic here, the basic costume. We're never going to be a king. We're never going to be a Malkah. We're never going to be Haman. We're never going to hate Jews because we are Jews. We are free from our normal clothes. We can wear what we want and we will. But we are asked to reveal something which is hidden within us. This costume, how? This is so true, ladies, you'll agree. When I cover my face with a mask and you don't know who I am, I can do what I really want to do. Because you don't know who I am. And so I can be who I want to be. The same thing when you turn the lights off in a tish and people will express themselves because no one can see them. So they feel free to be incredible. I had this experience in my last year in England when I was head of B'nai Akiva. I never dress up. I think it's the last time I dressed up. I went to a shop in London to buy a costume. And I bought, well, the only thing they had left was the Budweiser bear. So I put this bear costume on, but it was a real bear costume. No one knew who I was. It was fantastic. Kids thought I was a real bear. They came to stroke to me, and I had such fun. And people, no one ever talks to me, and everyone wants to talk to a bear. And I could do what I want. I could dance through Edgware Shul. No one knew who I was. Who is that? Who is that? You do what you want. No one knows who's underneath. You can do what you want because no one can see you. So you can be you because no one can see you. Isn't that sad? You can be you because no one can see you. And then if I can be myself underneath the mask, I can ask myself, so who am I? Instead of putting effort into being who we are meant to be, and we keep hiding who we really are. We could actually just be ourselves without hiding behind anything. There is nothing more tiring and exhausting than this obsession with what other people will say, what other people will think. When we can't be ourselves because we're just worried. That's what I love about being with you. I can just be myself. I'm never myself with anyone else. Never. I had a Talmidah here who was a madricha. For 2 years she was a madricha. And I told her, you're going to see me here like you never see me at home. When I go to family events, I sit on a couch and I just quietly, if I can sneak in a history book, I'll sneak in a history book. If I want to be from, I'll learn a chumash. Don't say anything. Don't speak to anyone. They come here on Yom Kippur. I sit them down here so they can't see me. Because they don't know me. Because they've never come here. So they never, my family, not my children know. So, ladies, listen, this is so interesting. I told you every minhag in Israel has some kind of source. So a costume can be liberating. Because as much as you're hiding behind the costume, you're actually liberating yourself. All you need is a good mask where people don't know who you are. Some old clothes. No one will know who you are. And then you are free. They don't know who you are, then you are free. Do what you want. That's what I do on a bus in Poland. I deny it all. But no one does matchmaker like me. Not even in the film they don't do matchmaker like me. You think I'm going to do that in the old city? Isn't that in front of Rav Bailey? You know, Rabbi Victor? What is a matchmaker? Makes matches? Or is it matchmaker? Or matchmaker? Or matchmaker? Or maybe we'll talk about matchmaker in a different way. Or maybe you won't. But you've got this mask on, and pitom ata chofshi, you're free. You are you because you're dafka. What a tragedy, right? You're covered up. No one knows who you are. So now you can be who you want to be because no one can see you. You can tell jokes. You can make people laugh. You can go to an old age home as you will. You can be a king. You can treat your wife as a queen. You can be a horse. You can, and then all the kids can ride on your back. I'll knock down on that one. ובעצם אתה יכול להיות כל מה שאתה חולם. You can be whatever you dream to be. But what you are not what the neighbors will say. And that is liberation. That is liberation. בכל אחד מאיתנו, last paragraph, קיים האני אחר. There is another person. איזשהו חלק מהאדם בתוכנו, a rebel inside of us, שהיה רוצה להיות משהו, שאנחנו לא. I spend my life being מאופק. How can you translate the word מאופק? להתאפק is to control yourself, to limit yourself, to not speak freely. האני הזה עלול להיות המעכב הפנימי הגדול ביותר. This can hold your life up. אשר ימנע מאיתנו בהתמדה להשיג את מה שאנחנו רוצים להשיג. It will stop us achieving what we want to achieve. עד כדי כך שלעיתים יראה לנו שאנו תקועים בקרב נצחי. We are in an eternal war against ourselves. There's so much here, ladies. Don't need to connect the themes up. But if we have that hastara in the Megillah, which we are able to reveal, Megillat Esther is the revelation of that which is hidden. Legalot et ha-Hester, to reveal that which is hidden. My real job in life is to reveal that which is hidden inside of me. Not to you, not to my family, but to myself. That's what everything is about. Okay. Have a good evening. I'll see you there. Who wanted to come with me?